Dan Thompson with the National School Chaplains Association. And I'm here with a good friend of mine, Brad Thomas. Brad, I'm really glad that you're here with us today. And I want you to share a little bit about how you think that businesses might relate to what we're doing at the National School Chaplains Association. I want you to share a little bit about your background and what we're doing, trying to get chaplains in the public school system. And I've shared with you some of my thoughts about why I think it's important, but I'd like to hear why you think it's important as a business leader.
Sure. Well, thank you, Dan, for this opportunity. Congratulations on getting this going. It's really needed. My background, 38 years with International Chemical Company, started in operations, shipping, letters of credit, doing international business. Eventually became involved in buying and selling commercial fertilizers all over the world. Eventually we bought the company out as an employee-owned business, and I was able to lead the company as CEO for about 16 years. So when you talk about having chaplains in school, I'm older than you. I grew up in a pretty structured situation. I had a mom and a dad at home and grew up in a church. And hiring younger people now, it's clear that the world has moved on from the Leave It to Beaver world that I grew up in. Finding, attracting well-adjusted team players is really critical in a business environment. And that adjustment starts at young age. Defining who you are and what you are, what makes you tick, what's right and wrong, what your parameters are in life, how you play on a team, all of those things start early in life. And as I look at the competitiveness of the marketplace in a business environment, getting solid, good people that can play on a team and that can help each other win. Right. Critically important. And I think that schools need to understand that kids are not just academic. We have a physical body, we have a mind, but we also have a spirit. And educating that wholeness, important for every potential employer, is looking for a whole person, is looking for a well-adjusted person, is looking for a person that knows how to play on a team and can help other players win. So to me, it's easy to be enthusiastic about what you're about, because as a country, we're competing, and our businesses, we're consumers of the kids that are coming out of school, whether it's a nonprofit, a for-profit, a school, a hospital. All of these organizations are consumers of educational production.
Right.
And as consumers of that product, we want a high quality, high potential producer to come into our companies. And that high quality, high producing person is a well-adjusted person, is a complete person, a whole person.
Let me ask you this, Brad, as an employer and as a business executive, you kind of see the landscape of what's happening in the corporate world. And I know there's been large Fortune 100 companies, Tyson Chicken, Coca-Cola, General Motors, some of these large corporate giants that are starting to employ chaplains. Why do you think that is?
Well, because people bring their home lives and they bring their personal lives with them to the office or to the plant. You don't just leave all that at the door when you come into work in the morning. And so I think I go back to the 1980s. Parker Drilling here in Tulsa was the first company I'd ever heard of that hired a corporate chaplain. They were all over the world. They're oil well drillers. They're all over the world. And this chaplain was hired because the Parkers understood that these are people.
Right.
And these are people that have issues. Life happens. Life can be pretty rough. And if you don't take care of your employees, then that's going to affect the overall results, success of your business.
So businessmen care about the bottom line too.
Have to. That's
so
our
let me ask you
obligation.
this. We're working with schools, with public schools. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but there's a big problem right now with attendance in schools. Attendance is going down. And a lot of school districts now are starting to take notice, and school boards are saying, we got to do something to get attendance back up, because most of them, their revenue literally comes from how many students are in attendance each day. So when attendance figures are going down, Well, some of the history that we have with National School Chaplains Association, this organization has been around for many years, and it has, in other countries, even seen great increases in participation and engagement of students when there's a chaplain present on board in that school district. So can you kind of give your take on, from a business point of view, why is this good business for school districts to employ chaplains?
Well, I think there's a parallel in the commercial marketplace. The pandemic taught everybody to work from home. And while there were some great sides to that, obviously technology, the whole world of virtual meetings, virtual work was given a jump start, pushed overboard quite literally to get it up overnight. What we saw in our business is that, that's not bad as a temporary measure. We got through it, but you lose the essence of what we're doing right here.
Right.
Is we're talking one-on-one, person to person. Business is a team sport. I mentioned that a bit ago, and virtual's okay.
Yeah.
But you're going to lose something. Business is still face-to-face. Business is relational. I think education is relational.
Yes.
Education, communication is relational. I think that it's the same problem in the commercial environment, getting people to come back into the office, likely to be the same problem with kids that didn't go to school for a year.
Right.
They learned something different. Maybe they weren't being sufficiently stimulated during that time, and they lost that. I think we lost something during the pandemic that we have to work hard to regain. I'm not surprised to hear you say that having a chaplain involved increases the attendance, because there's probably something self-serving from the student's point of view, that they're getting something out of it that they weren't getting before.
Right.
You know, the essence of the gospel is love God and love one another.
Right.
It's hard to do that when you're at home alone.
That's true.
And so the fact that they would be getting another dimension doesn't surprise me at all.
Well, I want to talk to you about one other aspect, and I really do appreciate your time. I know you're also an investor, and I'm an investor. People may not know it, I'm serving the National School Chaplains Association in leadership, trying to recruit chaplains and train chaplains, and with all the things that's happening with our organization. But as an investor, I'm also a businessman, and I own a business, and I put my money where I want to get a return on investment. And I know you've done that in your company too. And I just want you to share a little bit about, how to make a good investment. I know there's going to be business leaders, entrepreneurs like us that will watch this video and say, well, why should I care about this? Why should I get involved? And I've got my own personal reasons, but I'd like to just hear from you. Why is the National School Chaplains Association a good investment?
So when I was working in the trade, buying and selling, my own personal bottom line, my production, it was really a function of how hard I worked. But as I started to take over more and more management role, it wasn't just up to me. I had to find success, result, productivity through other people. And so I became more aware that if the people that I'm working with aren't successful, I can't be successful. I think what you're talking about with bringing another resource, and we're talking about at young ages, bringing another resource alongside to help that person to have not only someone to help look up to a mentor of sorts, but to help that person find his own identity, what makes him tick, what does he like to do. Putting a round peg in a square hole as an entrepreneur, as a manager, you bring somebody in and you put somebody in the wrong position, it's not going to end very well. Okay, they're not going to be happy. We're not going to be happy with their results. So having a well-adjusted person who understands who they are, what makes them tick, is, I think, a critical first step to long-term success out in the commercial enterprise. You mentioned that we're bottom line driven. We have to be. That's why the business exists. People go into business because they're drawn into that competitiveness. We only win in the marketplace when we serve. In our company, we're employee owned, so we're all pulling on the same oar. It's really fun. But if you get a non-well-adjusted person, even in that environment, it's chaotic. The chemistry can go bad in a hurry.
I want to touch on one last thing, and that's I want to talk about school boards. You know, I serve in a church. I'm an elder. I know you've been an elder in a church for many, many years, the same church I grew up in. But as somebody that's been around communities for quite a long time, and we've seen school boards, and we've seen ups and downs. You've had your family works in the public school system, so you've seen it. Sometimes school board members are stay-at-home moms, which is great. They're great moms. They understand how, from a mom's perspective. Then you've also got school board leaders that are elected to the school board, and they're business leaders. They may be a business owner, or they're an executive in a company, or they're middle management, but they're somewhere that they have some leadership, and they think, I can do some good on this school board. And I know many of them I've talked to have become frustrated with the public school system in general in this country. And it's not that we're trying to throw stones at public schools, it's just the fact that they're not always ran completely efficiently as they're used to in business. I think some guys, I've got a good friend, he ran for a school board, and he thinks, I'm going to make a huge difference, and he realized how difficult that was. But I'd just be curious about your perspective, because I think I've actually heard some people say, well, it's not worth worrying about the school board, which I'm a big proponent in. We need great leaders on our school boards. We need parents involved in our kids' education. Kind of give me your take on that.
Well, I think you took some of the words out of my mouth. I was going to say we need to be thankful for the moms who are willing to go serve, and we need to be thankful for the CEO that is willing to go serve. I'm a product of public schools.
I am too.
You're a product of public schools.
Right.
My wife taught and counseled in public schools her entire career. Our kids went to public school systems. Public schools are what made America different for generations. We need to pray for all of the members that are willing to serve on a school board. And we need to pray for their courage to continue to want to try to make a difference. Difference doesn't happen accidentally. Difference doesn't happen by chance. Difference happens because someone's passionate. Someone has enough emotional energy to go try to make a difference. It's the same thing in business. If you don't have a champion for an idea in a business environment, that idea is going to die. Every idea needs a champion. Every school board member who has a purpose is there because they're championing their ideas. You guys are championing, I think, a wonderful idea to bring more wholeness, to bring more help to kids as they're trying to grow up in this incredibly complex matrix of culture that we have. We didn't have all the technology. We didn't have all the knowledge. We didn't have all the entertainment that is out there for kids to be distracted with. At the end of the day, they still have to learn. They still have to come out knowing who they are, and they have to come out with a desire to contribute and work. The number one thing I'm looking for when I'm hiring somebody is just who wants to be on my team and help the team win. And it's so rare to hear any of those words in an interview. That's where I think if we can teach the wholeness of loving God, loving the other person. The best advice I ever got in my early career, I asked a guy who was a C-suite guy in a public company. I said, how did you get there? And he said, just learn to serve. Just work and learn to serve, and don't worry. The rest of it will take care of itself. I think we could get to kids with that message. It's not all about me. It's not all about what I can do or become. It's about helping my team win. It's about helping that other guy down the hallway. And that's the essence of Christ. Not about me, it's about the others. And so bringing that influence into the public school system, you go for it. That's
well, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate your time. And if you're out there watching this, if you want to get involved, please visit our website. The details are here right below, and we'd love to talk to you.